Yeah, that time was 30 minutes, but it seems like every 30 to 45 minutes it just kicks me out of my city and then lets me right back in. It's a mild annoyance. I don't really mind. That time it happened right at 6 a.m. when everyone went shopping. So that seems. We'll have to see if next time if it happens at the same. So much time if it's triggered by the same thing. Okay, so our current problem is that shopping waves are released at a time when all of the stores except for a small number are closed, and the distribution of stores that are open 24 hours is not uniform. So we end up with everyone in the city wanting to get to a relatively small number of places that are open at the time. Like traversing from one side of the city to the other is a big problem. We don't want a lot of people doing that, and lots of people are doing that right now. So solutions, we can up the ratio of commercial to residential, but that will severely limit our maximum population, right? Our goal is to have a city with like 600,000 people or 500,000 people or something like that. And right now, we're at 400,000 with max density on all our residential buildings. We need more residential buildings, and we're out of space. I mean, we're not actually out of space, but to get the biggest population possible, you need to use space as efficiently as possible. And having double the number of stores that you need, while it massively reduces traffic, it also reduces the maximum population of your city. So I feel like I should add buses and streetcars. That's what I feel like. So let's let things catch up. It's rush hour right now. Roads are going to get ridiculous. Come on, roads, get ridiculous. Our tax rate for the moment is set to 0% because I wanted to get people to stop doing what they're doing. Like, once all of our houses have max happiness, then instead of roaming the city trying to find a house to dump happiness into, people will shop and then just leave the city. Which is bad in and of itself, but it's bad in at least a predictable way. Like, all of the traffic will be heading in the same direction instead of having people just kind of roaming all over the place where I can't predict where they're going to go if they do that. So I wanted to convert a huge problem that I can't predict very well into a huge problem that I can predict very well. Also, I bulldozed a couple buildings and I wanted them to up density really quickly, and it seems like having 0% tax rate does a good job of getting that to happen. So it looks like traffic is going well. We got some minor trouble on the avenues, but that's all, and that's good. We want all of our traffic issues to be on the avenues. We can always add more spokes to the wheel if it gets really ridiculous, but the big problem would be traffic along the streets. We don't want any traffic along the streets. What are you guys doing? We're going shopping over here. So they started here and they wanted to go shopping over here. And that's the kind of thing that causes street traffic. We like avenue traffic. So someone was saying that one of these mini commercial zones gives 400 goods and or merchandise, right? And this house will send out 400 shoppers, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio. But over here we got this, like we got 16 looks like our 400,000 people want 16,000 goods, and we've got 26,000 goods. So we kind of want to reduce the number of commercial zones, but I think I might be reducing it too drastically. It looks like we wanted to delete half of the commercial zones, and instead we deleted 2/3 of them. I deleted 2/3 of them, and I shouldn't have. So let's put some of them back. So when we had all commercial or all residential and then all commercial, that was too many. But having 1/3 commercial here is too few. So what do we do? What do we do? What we probably want to do a pattern. Just imagining a pattern. I think we want people to be walking towards the center of the street. Is that true? Because, okay, who are they competing with for traffic? They're competing with people leaving the city, right? Those should theoretically be our only two destinations. You leave a house and you either leave the city or you go to a commercial place. Those are the only two places you need to go. So if a guy lives here and he wants to leave the city, he drives down this road. So we want to avoid having this road being populated by people who are shopping. We want shoppers to go this way, while exiters go this way. So I think by putting our shopping in the middle of the streets, we can avoid them conflicting in their goals. So first, this has gotten a little bit silly. So I'm just going to blow it all up. Another thing, it might be good if the large avenues didn't have as many, like if the circle wasn't a complete circle. Oops, I got it unzoned. But let me think about that for a second. Oh, this is good. We want residential there. So like up here, for example, we got this going on. So anybody living on this street can only go to this avenue. And anybody living on this street can go to either the same avenue or to this avenue. But maybe if we bulldoze right here, here, and here, and put another street alongside next to the avenue, then anybody living on this street section has to go to this avenue. And then we could have one section to avenue ratio, where people living in this little area of the city, the closest shop is always going to be within this little pie slice, right? Because there's no quick way to get from here over to the next one without going through the center of the city. So that could be good and it could be bad, right? It could be good in that if there are enough goods within this pie slice, then people are forced to get those goods from those locations, and that's exactly what we want. But it could be bad in that if there are not enough goods or not enough jobs, then everybody who can't find goods or jobs from here is going to have to go all the way to the center and then back down into another pie slice. And then they're going to be creating traffic along that pie slice that would otherwise have been just using the streets. So it seems like a big risk. Like, it could cause huge problems. But if things are balanced perfectly, it won't cause any problems. It'll be awesome. Anyway. So we want half of this zoned. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, I think we need a little bit more. So it's just kind of guessing. Hmm. So what would essentially be happening if we did what I was suggesting is that we would no longer have a circle city, right? It would look like a circle city. It would be aesthetically a circle city, but each of these pieces of pie would be independent of all the others, except for through a central connection. And at that point, we might as well you know how like the region view, like there's a bunch of cities connected by a highway and they're all independent of each other. It'd be like that, except for all of the sections would be like right next to each other, but they wouldn't be connected. Hmm. And I often get ideas like that and I'm tempted to do them because that was the way SimCity 4 worked without NAM. Uh, is basically you had to force your Sims not to go anywhere except for where you specifically wanted them to go. So you have a bunch of unconnected little mini cities. So everyone who lives in this location has to work in this location, you know? You'd force them to do that. Why did this get zoned commercial somehow? I thought I specifically did not zone that commercial. Look. Oh, it's because I used the wrong button. No, look, it's a residential building. It somehow got rezoned. Anyway, whatever. Seems like that's wasting a little space. Circle cities kind of bug me in that they waste space by definition. But they're a lot prettier. Yeah, much prettier. Much. These poor guys kind of bug me too. But I don't think there's a space efficient way to get rid of them. Because this road and this road are meant to have back-to-back buildings, so it's very space efficient the way these two roads are set up. And then there's not enough room here, so the alternative would be to blow up this road, but then we wouldn't be using the space right there. And so if we like made stripes or something, it wouldn't be worthwhile, I don't think. I feel like this whole inner first ring is a little silly too, because we end up with like 2 or 3 buildings on each portion of it. Anyway, we've had some serious traffic issues for a long time, and I've been ignoring them because I was trying to rezone this to be pretty like a flower. But now we should really look into what's going on. So it looks like a bunch of people coming home from Arcology are having trouble getting to houses because the avenues are chock full of people who come from this lane, go over here, and then go up this lane. Which I don't think people should be doing. But it's probably because this is all dezoned. So like if you can't find if you live here and you can't find shopping, where's the closest store that's not in this pie? It seems like you've got to go over here. Right? But why isn't there enough shopping in the pie to begin with? Oh, it looks like I already rezoned that. Look, this is commercial, or this is residential. How did that get residential? I don't remember having done it, but it looks like, yeah, this is... Man, I did more than I thought of this rezoning things. Okay. And this is why we up density slowly, man. Everything was going so smoothly until got a little bit of a misbalance, and now I have to redo like half the city. Literally half the city. That's funny. People are abandoning. Traffic is ridiculous. So I suspect we're gonna give this some time to fill in, but I suspect by tomorrow there won't be any traffic at all, if I was right about the cause of it. What? Is it? Yeah, today's Friday. Sorry. Oh. Shopping, shopping, shopping. This again is because we got lots of high density houses right here, but no shopping nearby. So, it's times like these when you wish that they had external, local save files, right? Because I could just reload from save before I started changing the ratio of residential to commercial or whatever. But yeah, this is totally messed up. Moving into a new home. I'm going to buy some cheap stuff. Feeling happy going home, feeling happy going home, feeling happy going home. I think we probably just need more spokes. 1, 2, so we got 6 spokes. Lots of people coming from the arcology. Lots of people coming. There shouldn't be anyone on this road. This is a little bit weird. I guess because the construction trucks haven't made it here, so there's no commercial at all. Let's just unzone all of this. Because having a bunch of houses with a bunch of residents and nowhere at all to shop, that's causing some problems. Blowing up a lot of stuff because we like to blow up stuff. Come on, guys. So this portion of the city is still a 1-to-1 ratio between commercial and residential. So my theory is that the 1-to-1 ratio of commercial to residential is working, and the problem was my 3-to-1 ratio was too severe, and it should have been a 3-to-2 ratio. Or even just a 2-to-1 ratio. And if that theory was correct, then this should have resolved itself traffic-wise already. But obviously it hasn't. I can... These guys are all trying to find a place to shop. What happens, I think, is when I blew up all the buildings, there were already shoppers on the road that are looking for a place to shop. So they're just going to keep going until they find a place to shop. And then they'll have nowhere to return their happiness to because I blew up all the houses. And so then they'll leave the city. So I think that these guys are, yeah, that's what's happening. So they're all trying to find a place to shop. They find a place to shop. They buy stuff. They notice that there's nowhere to return it to, and then they leave the city. So eventually this will all handle itself. We just got to wait like 3 days. I think the central roundabout is too small, and I think that's what's causing so much traffic. Because anytime somebody wants to get from this road to this road, they go across this teeny tiny section of road, and that completely blocks off this whole spoke. So, for example, if someone wants to get from here to here, then they block off anyone's ability to get from here to anywhere. So that's why I think people have in general said that roundabouts don't work in this game, and I got to start agreeing that I don't think they do work. Our roundabout was pretty for a while, and it worked for a while. And it allows us to have more spokes all connected to each other. But isn't that kind of a bad thing, having more spokes all connected to each other, you know? So I think it works as long as your traffic is handled so well that nobody needs to use it. But once it gets, like, it has a maximum volume, and unlike other roads where when they reach maximum volume, they just go really slow, with the roundabout, when it reaches maximum volume, you get things like this where this guy's just been standing still forever. Like, look how slowly he moves up in traffic. It's because all of these spokes are tied to each other. They're all locked upon each other. It's called gridlock. That's the problem. So this inner spoke needs to be bigger, or it just needs to not exist. It works as an exit. It works as an exit. If somebody lives here and they want to get out of the city, they go like this. And if somebody lives here and they want to get out of the city, they go like this. And they're both using the same road to get out of the city, and that's silly. They should each have a separate road that somehow connects to this one. But no matter what, they're both going to end up using the same road once they get over here. The problem is that that road is so small. Anyway, as you can see, the traffic did clear up after a while. So I'm going to give it like 2 more days, I think, and then we should have no traffic at all again. I'm still trying to think of a better design for the center of the city, though. Come on, brain. Hi.
Have you seen the computer, Daddy?
The one that's in your hand?
No.
Which one?
This one.
It's in your hand.
I know, it's this one.
Okay. I don't understand the question.
Okay, I want to play a computer game.
Alright.
Where's the other?
They're all just leaving the city. Come on.
Where's the other computer?
Which other computer?
Yeah.
It's upstairs. Ask Mama.
She's not there.
Okay, well then just look, and if you can't find it, then start doing something else.
Come on. I can do it. Look.
Good job, Joshi.
I'm gonna get the other computer.
Alright,
I'm gonna
just passing through. Happy, leaving the city, leaving the city, leaving the city. Alright, so I think I've got tax rates still set to 0% because I'm crazy rich and there's no reason not to. And the goal here was for all of the residential zones to fill up on happiness. Let's turn our hospital back on. to fill up on happiness, and then maybe they would stop sending out shoppers at all. I have my doubts as to whether or not that's the way it works. I think they still send out shoppers, and then those shoppers just leave the city. So yeah, they just sent out shoppers even though this house is completely full on happiness. So this completely full on happiness house just sent out 200 shoppers. I don't know why. Why bother sending out shoppers if you're happy? What are those shoppers going to do? They're going to pick up happiness. They're going to look for a place to deposit it, which isn't you. Like, if this building doesn't need happiness, why is it going on a mission to trade the building's money for happiness that it doesn't need? So that's a little bit silly. But we know that that happens. So how do we... Basically just means there's two ways of reaching equilibrium. We could try to piss off our city enough so that each building loses 200 happiness between 200 happiness gathering sessions, right? And then it would send out shoppers who would get happiness, and then they would come back because there'd be available slots for happiness, right? But I've tried turning off the hospital, raising taxes, and neither of those things worked in that regard. So the next option would be that we can just expect that everyone in the city needs to leave and come back every day. Which, I don't know. I don't think that we can jam 400,000 people out through a single exit. Another thing worth wondering about: when a guy arrives at a gambling center, for example, on foot, he walks there. He can take a taxi to leave there and go somewhere else. And if a guy arrives by car at a gambling center, he could theoretically walk from there to somewhere else. So I'm wondering about shoppers. If we have public transportation that can pick people up from this store and ship them off to the region, then if someone drives from here to here, shops, can they ditch their car and take a bus out of town, or do they need to use their car? Interesting question. Interesting. Anyway, we're jamming everyone out of the city because they're super happy. Let's raise our tax rate back up. I don't understand the purpose of commercial tax rate. Because commercial buildings, their happiness is based off profitability, and there's no downside to them being happy, right? We're taxing our residents because the downside to having happy residents is that they cause traffic leaving the city. But our commercial zones don't do that, I don't think. When they're happy, they just nothing. There's no consequence. Their happiness is a good thing, which should be true of everyone, but isn't. Don't need those buildings. Alright, so we've got our tax rate set to 20%. I'm still just silently thinking about how to disconnect one half of the city from another half of the city while allowing both halves to leave. Because if I can get from here to the exit and I can get from here to the exit, then by definition I can get from here to here. I guess what we want to do is make it closer. Make this place closer to this place, and then